If you're in here, I know I'm just, I'll be right there. I mean, I don't know that you're in here. If you are in here, I'm just fixing, you know, what I have to do every night in YouTube land here. I'll be right there. Oops. Okay, hang on, almost there. Save. And we're going to go to make sure this is done. Yes, okay, I'm coming back. Let's see. Hey there. Whew. Deb on the move, Pat, Donna, Humpty Dumpty's broken pieces. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? Kathy, Mary Kim, Natty Jean, Ann, Jokano, Judy, Shine, oh my goodness, Shine On. I haven't seen you in forever. Wait a minute, weren't you pregnant the last time? Did you have your baby? Maybe Frugal Mom will come back too now. We haven't seen her in forever. Hi Tina, William, Alicia, the Bryan clan, Steph, Flower Girl, Robin, Peggy K, Amazing Grace, Elise, hello, Molly, Tina, Brenda, hi, the Bryan clan, Shine On again, no sound. I was talking to Jimmy then. He was talking to me about soda and vitamins. Not soda, seltzers, whatchamacallit, not that, I can't even think, kombucha. Where am I? Patty and Jack, Sarah, hi, William, I think I got you, Kim, Robin, Rebecca, is it just me or no, it was everybody. Susan, Steph, what did I miss? Tamlin, Kristen and Company, Vala, hey there, Seaglass and Shells. Hey, Jay Friday, I haven't seen you in a while. You've been waiting all day? Seabass, Robin, Jennifer James, you're listening while you sleep. Okay, listen while you sleep. Hi Alicia, hey J Bells, Rockin' Robin. Okay, we're frozen? No, we shouldn't be frozen. Is anybody frozen? He got the camera camera together, the cabinet together, yes. Are we frozen to anybody? Somebody said frozen. Hi Evie. Shay, you're here most nights, you're just quiet, Jay Friday. Hi Rosemarie, Linda B, that rhymed. Janae, that didn't. Tina, makes a long day. Okay, well we came on early at least, but we've got arrest warrants and things to go through. Hi Robin, hi Arhuff. I just want to see if Shine On, did Shine On answer me? Shine On? I haven't seen Shine On in forever. Jenny D. What else did I miss? Dee Dee. Carol. Oh, I got some happy mail too today. I have this, which Jimmy is going nuts for me to open, okay? Because he said there's something in it. It's from another country. I don't know who sent it to me because they didn't put a return address on it. Is it from, hold on a minute. Does it say? Oh, I thought it said Scotland. It says Royal Mail. Royal Mail, so that's UK, right? Carolyn and family. So I have that, and then somebody sent me this box over here, which Jimmy opened. And one of you was like right on something I said last week. Like, I mean, right on it. I can't even believe how right on it you were on. I don't even think it was a week since I said it. So we'll get to that. Remind me to get to that at the end, okay? All right, good. his lawyer friend, well, his civil attorney, Teresa. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, okay, Shine On, good. No problem there. Hi, Mary. Let's see. So many Robins. Okay. Well, if I didn't see you, I'll see you later. If I don't feel bad, I see you too. All right, so let's go right to Fotis Dulos' arrest warrant, okay? Because there's a lot of information about what he did to her, like how he left her car there and rode his bike. I guess he threw his bike in the back of her SUV, rode it out to where he left her car, and then biked back to the house where he cleaned up with like deck pillows or camping pillows, and he had her in zip ties. We'll get to all that. I'm going to pull the arrest warrants up. All right. Okay, these are good, and I don't have to keep changing pages like that crap last night. This just scrolls right up. And I've got the warrants for all three of our people here. Whoops. Except go over there. We just have to get it over one time, and then we're golden. Okay. And let me just get one up on, oh, I can do it from this screen. Hang on. Okay, I think I can. Let me see. Let me just try to make it a little larger so I can see it over on this screen, and you can all see it better. Okay, that's good for everybody. Everybody can see, hopefully. All right, let me put on my blue light glasses. All right, so he has count 1 murder, count 2 felony murder, count 3 kidnapping in the first degree. Okay, this is for Fotis in Farmington. His birthday is August 6th, 1967. Oh, this is good because, oh, it's letting me just do it that way. Okay. So his bail is set at $6 million to be posted only after arraignment. Okay, here we go. So your affiant, Detective John Kimball, is a member of the Connecticut State Police with 26 years of law enforcement experience. Your affiant has been assigned as a detective with the Western District Major Crime Squad, Troop G, I can't speak tonight, G, office for more than 10 years and has, at all pertinent times mentioned herein, been acting in his official capacity as a member of said department. The following facts and circumstances are stated from personal knowledge, observation, and investigation, as well as from information received from brother and sister officers acting in their official capacity. Due to the complex, interwoven, non-linear nature of the facts and circumstances of this case, this affidavit includes paragraph headings in bold text, and some facts include source citations in brackets. Okay, so let's pull this up a little more. Initial missing persons report, Friday, May 24th, 2019 at 6:59, the New Canaan Police Department received the initial report of missing person identified as Jennifer Dulos of 69 Wells Lane, New Canaan, Connecticut, referred to in this affidavit as Jennifer or as the victim. NCPD officers responded to that address where they located suspected blood evidence on a Range Rover parked in the center garage bay. Jennifer was not located inside the residence. NCPD Investigation Division Officer Thomas Patton responded to the scene and located additional evidence indicative of a crime scene. NCPD contacted the Connecticut State Police for assistance, and detectives from the Troop G office and the crime van responded to the scene. Okay, the residence included a 3-bay garage, the center bay of which contained the 2014 Range Rover with New York plates. The left and right, north and south bays were empty. While searching and processing the garage, members of the WDMCS crime van identified multiple areas within the garage which presumptively tested positive for blood. Investigators observed splatter stains on the driver's side of the Range Rover and on the, garage floor left of the Range Rover. Spatter stains are blood stains resulting from airborne blood drops created when an external force is applied to liquid blood. Detectives also noted indications that the scene had been altered by an attempt to clean it, which he did. Detectives determined that a 2017 Chevy Suburban registered to Jennifer Dulos was missing from the residential garage. The vehicle was found by NCPD abandoned at approximately 7 p.m. on Lapham Road, adjacent to the southwest portion of Waveney Park in New Canaan. I thought that was supposed to be Waverly. Okay. The vehicle was unoccupied, its running lights were on, and its transmission was left in reverse. Jennifer was not found inside the vehicle or in the surrounding area. Investigators found stain spatter on the passenger side of the vehicle. Forensic results from the crime scene. Evidence recovered from the crime scene was submitted to the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Scientific Services Forensic Laboratory for analysis. The table below lists a portion of the results gleaned from the evidence submitted. So they found blood-like stains on the Land Rover hood, and the DNA there matched Jennifer Dulos. They found blood-like stains on the bumper of the Land Rover, and that matched her DNA. They found blood-like stains on the Land Rover rear fender, and that matched her her DNA as well. And then they found a blood-like stain from the kitchen sink faucet, and that was a mixture of Jennifer and Fotis' DNA. There was a blood-like stain on a sink door, cabinet door, and that was positive for Jennifer's DNA. Swabbing inside the knob plate of the mudroom door was a match to Fotis Dulos. And then a blood stain on the garage door was a match to Jennifer, and a blood-like stain from the east garage wall was a DNA match to Jennifer. Detectives have identified the following persons as central to this investigation. Fotis Dulos. Fotis was the estranged husband of Jennifer, referenced in this affidavit as Doulos. Doulos resided at 4 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington, Connecticut. Doulos owned and operated a construction company named the 4 Group, Inc. Out of an office at his residence. Doulos and the victim were married in 2006, and together they have 5 children. Michelle C. Troconis was the girlfriend of Doulos, who resided with him on Jefferson Crossing, referenced in this affidavit as Troconis. And then there's Powell Gaminini, is a full-time employee of the 4 Group. However, I know I butchered his name, okay? I hope we call him Powell in here. 4 Group, and he worked closely with Doulos daily as a project manager for 4 Group, and he regularly operated a Toyota Tacoma. Now, this guy, Kent Mawini, that's the attorney, is a practicing attorney and a personal friend of Doulos. So he was on the radar right from the get-go. And then we have Andreas. Why don't we have to have last names like this? I feel like the teacher on the first day of school. Tout Ziariadis or something. Something Greek, I should know it. Childhood friend of Doulos who lives in Greece. Let's please just call him Andreas. Okay, Andreas. Okay, so vehicles. Detective checked the collect system to locate vehicles registered to the 4 Group. the company owned and operated by Fotis Dulos, and the other vehicles associated with his employees. The results of these searches included the following vehicles: 2015 Chevy Suburban that was registered to the Ford Group and regularly operated by Doulos, a 2014 Jeep Cherokee. It was a white Jeep Cherokee Laredo registered to the Ford Group and operated by Doulos, Troconis, and Gamiani. 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, high-performance pickup truck, black in color, registered to the Ford Group and commonly operated by Doulos. A 2001 Toyota Tacoma, a red Toyota Tacoma pickup truck, registered to Gamiani's wife, Barbara Gamiani. According to Gamiani, his wife normally drove her own vehicle, and he used the Toyota Tacoma for transportation to and from the Farmington area in connection to his employment by Fotis Dulos. During Gamiani's work week, he indicated that he was usually provided a four-group vehicle to operate. Initial contact with Fotis Dulos. So on May 25th, 2019, at approximately 2:47 p.m., Doulos entered the lobby of the New Canaan Police Department and was met by Officer Patton and CSP Detective Christopher Allegro. Nearly 3 hours after his initial expected arrival. When asked about his attorney, Doulos indicated the lawyer Jacob Pietranker was outside talking on the phone. Doulos asked investigators if there was any news on his wife's disappearance and was told detectives were seeking his help in finding her. Officer Patton told Doulos that he would be entering a secure area of the facility and asked if he had any weapons or contraband. As Doulos began pulling items from his clothing pockets, almost immediately he began patting his own pockets and muttering, "Where's my phone?" Oh, I wonder if he conveniently forgot his phone. Sorry, I needed a drink. At approximately this time, Pietranker entered the lobby and announced to police that Doulos would be providing no interview and that he and Doulos would be leaving. Detectives were surprised to hear that Doulos was not going to help in the search for Jennifer, and they began to look for clarification from Doulos and Pietranker. As this discussion was taking place, Pietranker handed Doulos the cell phone he was carrying. Detective Allegro spoke up to ask Doulos, "Is that your phone?" And Doulos responded affirmatively. Detective Allegro asked to see the phone, and Doulos handed over the phone with no apparent hesitation. Observing the phone was locked with a 4-digit passcode, Detective Allegro asked for the unlock code. Doulos provided the code as 0000, and Detective Allegro unlocked the phone. As he placed the phone into airplane mode, a setting which removes the cell phone from the network, thus preventing the data on the phone from being remotely erased. Pietranker asked Detective Allegro what he was doing. Detective Allegro responded that he was securing the cellular phone and the data it contains because of his belief that the phone contained evidence related to the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos. He further indicated that a search and seizure warrant would be sought to authorize a search of the cell phone for such evidence. Doulos responded by saying nothing. NCPD surveillance video documented the transaction and showed Doulos appearing agitated and confused. Pietranker asserted that police had no grounds to seize the cell phone because they had no warrant. Detectives acknowledged that a SSW would be sought and that the cell phone would not be searched until a lawful SSW had been issued. Their actions were restricted to the securing of the cell phone and the prevention of potential destruction of evidence contained within the phone. Pietranker responded by saying he needed a moment with his client, and both men walked out into the lobby of the NCPD. Okay. Now, 9, search warrant for Dulos' primary cell phone. On 5/25/19, the same day Dulos' cell phone was seized at approximately 2:47 p.m., detectives presented an affidavit in Stanford Superior Court outlining facts known as of 2:47 p.m. that date. Upon review, the court issued a search and seizure warrant at 8:50 p.m. for Dulos, handset seized earlier that date. As investigation progressed, a second cellular handset with a separate cellular number was seized from Dulos. For clarity, the last 4 digits of Dulos' cell phones are referenced in this case 8625. On 5/26/19, a forensic examination of Dulos' 8625 cell phone provided information that Dulos' handset was in the area of Albany Avenue and Hartford during the 7 o'clock hour on 5/24/19. Albany Avenue video canvass started on 5/27/19, where the WDMCS detectives began to canvass the area of Fairmont Street, Green Street, and Albany Avenue in the city of Hartford, which resulted in the development of footage showing a large, dark-colored pickup truck consistent with the 2014 Ford Raptor registered to the Ford Group traveling in the area at approximately 7:40 p.m. on 5/24. WDMCS on 5/30, those detectives contacted the Hartford Police Department Special Operations Group, Capital City Command Center, and requested their assistance in determining Dulos' activities in the area of Albany Avenue. C4 located a male wearing a light-colored shirt, dark pants, and a ball cap. This individual was subsequently identified as Dulos. He was observed operating a large black-colored pickup truck, which was later identified as that F-150 SVT Raptor pickup truck that's registered to the Ford Group. A female passenger in the Ford Raptor was shown on surveillance, subsequently identified as Dulos' girlfriend, Michelle Triconis. C4 mapped out Dulos' movements as he deposited multiple black-colored plastic garbage bags into several trash receptacles during the evening of 5/24/19. The mapping included the following points. Okay, a black Ford Raptor entered the area of Albany Avenue. Surveillance cameras from the west. It was shown traveling eastbound along Albany Avenue, and then it turned right from Albany Avenue onto southbound Milford Street. As the vehicle passes through the camera's field of view, several plastic bags can be seen in the rear bed of the pickup truck. At this point, the truck travels through a portion of city streets not covered by surveillance cameras for approximately 7 minutes. A Ford Raptor reemerges onto Albany Avenue and turns right to travel eastbound again. At approximately 7:39 p.m., the vehicle stops at Albany Avenue and Garden Street, and the male gets out of the driver's seat. He grabs a black plastic bag and places it in the trash receptacle on the sidewalk. The camera angle shows the rear bed of the truck is now largely empty of bags, so they did a lot of depositing when they went 7 minutes out of the view of the cameras, obviously. A Ford Raptor continues eastbound on Albany Avenue until it reaches Center Street, where the driver conducts a U-turn to travel westbound again along Albany Avenue. As the truck passes the camera, the rear bed of the truck is seen to hold only one black plastic bag. 7:41, a Ford Raptor is shown from behind, traveling westbound on Albany Avenue and stopping at Green Street. The male emerges from the driver's seat. He retrieves the last garbage bag while standing to the rear of the truck and discards the bag into the trash can. A Ford Raptor travels westbound along Albany Avenue until it passes out of the area of surveillance coverage at approximately 7:50 p.m. Additional C4 video showed Dulos remove what appeared to be a large, rigid object from the rear of the Ford Raptor and lean it up against a building. The object was consistent with the appearance of a WeatherTech brand rear cargo liner, determined to be missing from Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban. C4 video also showed an unidentified person removing what appeared to be a light-colored piece of material containing a large blood stain. The item appeared consistent with 1 or 2 small camping pillows, which Jennifer's nanny, Lauren Almeida, reported were missing from the garage shelves at the 69 Wells Lane crime scene. Investigators subsequently identified and interviewed the homeless male who told investigators he had seen what he described as a bloody pillow, but he had not taken the item. Recovery of evidence from Albany Avenue. Detectives checked trash receptacles shown on surveillance and recovered garbage bags consistent with black garbage bags shown on C4 video. What appeared to be cut clothing and undergarments with blood-like substance, plastic zip ties containing BLS and items and household goods, example, kitchen sponge with blood-like stains, and other household trash items. Numerous items recovered from trash receptacles corresponding to dump locations on C4 video were submitted to the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Forensic Science Laboratory located at 278 Colony Street in Meriden, Connecticut. Okay, so here we have what was collected here. So we have blood-like stains from a paper towel, DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, sponge, DNA match to Jennifer, mop handle, DNA match to Jennifer, black garden glove, DNA match to Fotis Dulos, interior, black husky gloves, DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, exterior, vineyard vines, striped shirt, extra small, DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, a bra with a DNA match to Jennifer Dulos, a clear poncho without a hood, match to Jennifer, a clear poncho with a hood, match to Jennifer, zip ties, DNA match to Jennifer, standard textile brand bath towel, match to Jennifer's DNA, plastic garbage bags taped together with black tape, DNA match to both Jennifer Dulos and Michelle Triconis. Black plastic bag with black tape, DNA match to Jennifer Dulos. Pieces of black bag with duct tape, right index fingerprint of Fotis Dulos. Torn black plastic garbage bag tied in a knot on one side with red-brown stains and black tape attached to inside of the bag, the right middle fingerprint of Fotis Dulos and the left middle fingerprints of Fotis Dulos. Swabbing of the back interior of the knot is a DNA match to Jennifer. Blood-like stain on the poncho, DNA match to Jennifer. Swabbing from the trash bag matches Jennifer. Swabbing from the tangle of black tape matches Jennifer. Blood-like stain from exterior of non-damaged plastic bag is a DNA match to Jennifer. Swabbing of sticky side of duct tape located on interior bag is a DNA match to Jennifer. Swabbing of bag opening and separate bag portion is a DNA match to Jennifer, to Fotis, and to Michelle Triconis. Recovery of altered license plates. C4 surveillance video also showed Dulos placing a large white-colored item into a storm drain at the intersection of Albany Avenue and Adams Street. Detectives and Metropolitan District Commission personnel responded to the intersection and they accessed the drain. A large white-colored FedEx envelope was removed from the drain and secured by detectives. The envelope was found to contain 2 Connecticut passenger plates, which initially appeared to read 5TZWBU. Upon closer inspection, detectives discovered the plate had been altered using what appeared to be blue tape and a clear adhesive. A collect NCIC check of the plate as it appeared to read 5TZWBU yielded no information. When detectives determined the actual plates were 516WDJ, a collect NCIC check of the actual alphanumeric listed the plate as canceled on a 2007 Chevy Suburban registered to Fotis Dulos. Okay, so now we have arrest number 1 of Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis. Based on the above facts and circumstances, detectives sought an arrest warrant for Dulos and Troconis on charges stemming from the disposal of evidence in Jennifer's disappearance along Albany Avenue in Hartford. On June 1st, 2019, arrest warrants for Dulos and Troconis were authorized and executed, charging both individuals with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence and for hindering prosecution in the first degree. Okay, hang on, I'm just going to get a drink before we move on. Okay, initial interview with Michelle. As of the drafting of this affidavit, Doulos has provided absolutely no cooperation to law enforcement in their investigation into Jennifer's disappearance. Investigators have turned to Doulos' girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, for assistance. Starting on May 24th, 2019, NCPD personnel reached out several times to Troconis, leaving multiple phone messages for her to call back. Troconis failed to respond to any of the NCPD messages. On June 2nd, detectives conducted the first interview with Troconis at NCPD headquarters following her initial arrest on the above charges. Troconis' attorney, Andrew Bowman, was present in the room during all questioning, and during this initial interview, Troconis offered her first version of the events of the date of Jennifer's disappearance, Friday, 5/24/2019, as well as the circumstances leading up to that day. Okay. So, Troconis' explanation of alibi scripts. On June 3rd, 2019, the day after Troconis' first interview, WDMCS crime van detectives were executing a search warrant at 4 Jefferson Crossing when they located a set of handwritten notes. These documents came to be referred to by investigators as the alibi script. The 2-page document included 2 distinct handwriting styles, which were later confirmed by Troconis to be her own handwriting and that of Dulos. The alibi script was an outline of the activities of Troconis and Dulos for the dates of 5/24/19 and 5/25/19, laid out in approximately hourly increments. The original handwritten alibi script was recovered from a trash bin in the 4-group office, and photocopies were in a briefcase. The alibi script included a narrative which was nearly identical to the information provided by Troconis in her first interview, and it represented an account of 5/24/19 and 5/25/19, which Dulos and Troconis together had authored, and which narrative Troconis presented nearly verbatim in her first interview. In her second 2 interviews, Troconis' account of those dates diverged from the alibi script, particularly when confronted with evidence, much of which was unknown to investigators during the first interview. It is therefore important to describe the various sources of information developed thus far during the investigation. Interview number 2. Stating in her second interview, Troconis provided the following reasons for why she and Dulos had written out alibi scripts. This should be good. Troconis stated that on either Saturday, 5/25, or Sunday, 5/27, she was present for a phone conversation between Dulos and his family attorney, Jacob Pietranker, in which Pietranker instructed Dulos to write out a precise timeline of his actions on Wednesday, 5/22, the date of his last visitation with his children, which had occurred in part at Jennifer's home, 69 Wells Lane. Troconis reported the attorney had told Dulos to write down everything he had done during the visit to Jennifer's home. Pietranker specifically told Dulos to record whether or not he had entered Jennifer's home. Troconis remembered being surprised that Dulos had been to Jennifer's home on that date because Dulos had told her the visitation occurred at Grace Farms in New Canaan. Troconis continued, Fotis goes, "No, I did not go in the house." And he, Pietranker, said, "Make sure, where did you guys eat?" Dulos continued to say, "No, I didn't go inside the house. But, yes, I hugged the kids. We played. I don't know if a hair went in. Following the call, Troconis confronted Dulos. I'm like, Fotis, where were you on Wednesday? Because you told me you went to Grace Farms. Doulos admitted he had gone to Jennifer's house and added that they had eaten outside. Troconis reported Doulos had told her, Jacob was saying, write down everything as you were by the time you spent in Jennifer's house. Where did you eat? Did you put any plates inside the house? Do you remember going to the bathroom? Doulos repeated to Troconis that he had not entered Jennifer's home. Detectives pointed out that in the recording their timelines, both she and Doulos had chosen to omit the trip to dump trash in Hartford, to which Troconis replied, I know. When Troconis was told this, looked bad, that she and Doulos had failed to record potentially incriminating information, Troconis replied, okay, I know. Troconis denied that Doulos had told her to leave certain items out of the script. She reported Doulos had told her to write out the highlights of her day's events. When asked if Doulos was dictating what story Troconis should tell the police, she responded, well, obviously was for me to say it, but he was trying to be more accurate, but with a lie, that's what I'm saying. He was trying to fill things that I don't remember with things that didn't. It wasn't true. Sources of information. Troconis submitted to 2 subsequent voluntary interviews in the presence of her attorney in which she presented vastly different accounts of what happened on 5/24/19. Additionally, the latter seizure and search warrant execution on Doulos and Troconis' cell phones provided another source of information. Detectives also secured various sources of residential and commercial surveillance footage. Therefore, these sources of information for Troconis included 1. Interview number 1 on June 2nd, alibi scripts June 3rd, interview number 2 June 6th, interview number 3 August 13th, 5. Troconis' cell phone data, 6. Doulos' cell phone data, 7. Residential surveillance. 20. Troconis' interview claims. In each of her interviews, Troconis offered claims which conflicted with her other interviews, and even sometimes portions of the same interview. When confronted with conflicts in the information she was providing, whether they be inconsistencies with other answers or contradictions to surveillance sources, Troconis would only provide more truthful information, sometimes modifying or changing her answer in the middle of it. Doulos' whereabouts. During her 3 interviews, Troconis provided a variety of explanations when asked if Doulos was home at 4 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington when she awoke the morning of 5/24/2019. Okay, and this is interview number 1. Troconis' statements included. On 5/24/19, both she and Doulos had woke up at the residence at 6:40 a.m. She told investigators that she and Doulos had showered and were intimate together before she made breakfast for her daughter and then drove her to school. Note, this is inconsistent with information from the forensic download of Doulos' 8625 cell phone, which indicated that on 5/24/2019, the alarm activated at 4:20 a.m. and was shut off at 4:21 a.m. When pressed on whether Doulos was home that morning, Troconis admitted, so maybe he wasn't home the entire morning, but Troconis continued to still provide Doulos with an alibi for that morning from 6:40 a.m. until 8:15 a.m. She reported last seeing Doulos that morning at 8:15 a.m. in the 4-group office with Mawini. Troconis explained that she was out of the house from 9 to 11:30 a.m., which provides her with plausible deniability for that time period. When asked to clarify if Dulos was home on the morning of 5/24/19, Troconis did not answer the question. Instead, she immediately began telling investigators what she had been doing by saying, "All my morning I have doing, he was in the house. I have text." Detectives continued to ask about Dulos' whereabouts, and Troconis ultimately acknowledged, "So maybe he wasn't home." I'm getting a drink again. Hang on. Okay. Interview number 2. From the beginning of the second interview, Troconis continued to lie about seeing Dulos on the morning of 5/24. Troconis was asked if Dulos was in the house when she woke up at 6:40. Troconis first reported, "He was there when we woke up. He was in the house." When Troconis was told investigators had evidence showing Dulos was not in the house, Troconis replied, "Okay." Troconis proceeded to cover her face with her hands. She wiped her eyes, and then she tried to change the subject. Troconis' attorney, Andrew Bowman, tried to clarify with Troconis to see if she actually saw Dulos on the morning of 5/24. Troconis hedged her answer, but acquiesced that she did not see Dulos on that day until between 1 and 2 p.m. Troconis was asked if there was tension between Dulos and herself because of his divorce and the problems surrounding it. Her response was, "We fight all the time." Detectives asked Troconis if the turmoil might be a motivating factor to get rid of Jennifer. Troconis reported that Dulos had expressed to her that he never thought Jennifer would do this to him, and that he never saw this side of her. Troconis also conveyed Dulos had told her, "Sometimes I hope she disappears." Okay, interview number 3. Hold on one second. Troconis' statements included investigators during her first 2 interviews. Troconis hesitated before answering yes. Investigators asked Troconis if Dulos was home when she shut off her alarm on 5/24. Troconis began shaking her head left to right as she responded no. Detectives confirmed he was not there. Troconis answered no. Investigators asked Troconis if she showered the morning with Dulos. Troconis responded, "No, I didn't." Troconis ultimately admitted she had not seen Dulos in the bedroom, in the shower, or anywhere else in the house that morning until noontime when Dulos called up for her to her for lunch. Okay, then we have 4-group meeting and Dulos' cell phone. Troconis told investigators in her first interview that there was a 4-group meeting on the morning of 5/24 at the office at 4 Jefferson Crossing, which was attended by Doulos and Kent Mulwiney. Troconis' account was contradicted by her subsequent claims and by Mulwiney. Interview number 1. During the interview, Troconis' claims included Troconis reported that Dulos was in the 4-group office section of the residence conducting a business meeting with attorney Kent Mulwiney the morning of 5/24/19 at approximately 8:15 a.m. She ultimately told 3 different versions of this meeting. Troconis first said that she saw Mulwiney and Dulos both sitting at a table talking with one another. Keep in mind that Mulwiney is the attorney that was arrested today. Later, Troconis indicated she only heard Mulwiney and Dulos talking, but never saw the 2 of them together sitting at the table. And finally, Troconis reported she only heard Mulwiney talking, but did not see or hear Dulos. Troconis stated she greeted Mulwiney in the 4-group office that morning. In an interview, Mulwiney admitted to investigators he was at the 4-group office that morning, but stated he never saw Troconis. Interview 2. In this interview, Troconis' statements included Troconis was asked if Mulwiney was in the 4-group office on the morning of 5/24/19, to which she began nodding her head and saying yes, that I did see. She stated Mawhinney had a meeting that morning with Dulos. She continued to maintain that Dulos was present in the office at approximately 8:20 or 8:30 a.m. Troconis added that she had greeted Mawhinney by saying, "Hi." When Troconis was asked if she knew the whereabouts of Dulos' cell phone that morning, she replied that she thought Dulos had his cell phone. When asked if Dulos would normally carry his cell phone with him, Troconis responded, "Yes and no, but a lot yes." Troconis answered that it would be unusual for Dulos to be without his phone even for a few hours. Troconis left open the possibility that Dulos had left his cell phone behind accidentally. But when questioned, Troconis reported Dulos had not told her he had forgot his cell phone on 5/24/19. Interview number 3. During her third interview, Troconis provided the following information. Troconis told detectives that after returning from dropping off her daughter at school, she had gone to the 4-group office and had seen Mawhinney at the far end of a glass table. Upon seeing Mawhinney, she said good morning to him, and he responded, "Hello, good morning." Troconis then noticed that Dulos' cell phone was sitting on the table, and she found it unusual that the cell phone was there at a time when Dulos was not present and his whereabouts were unknown to her. Under repeated questioning by detectives, Troconis was unwilling to say that Dulos was not at the residence. She would only say that she did not see Dulos during the morning, not in the bedroom, not in the kitchen, not in the 4-group office, and that she did not know his whereabouts during the entire morning. Having seen his phone on the desk, Troconis reported she had assumed Dulos was at the residence. "I thought he, Dulos, was there because Kent was there, but I didn't see him, Dulos. I didn't see him." Troconis later added, "Back then, I always thought he, Dulos, was in the house, but thinking, I never saw him. I never heard his voice. So obviously he wasn't, or probably he wasn't in the house." Incoming phone call from Andreas T. We're just calling him T. Dulos' phone records showed an incoming call to his cell phone on 5/24 at 8:24 a.m., and this call was prearranged by Dulos the previous day with his friend Andreas, who lives in Greece. The incoming call from Andreas was not mentioned by Troconis during the first interview. Interview number 2, Troconis did not discuss the call from Greece during this interview. She continued to claim no knowledge that Dulos did not have his cell phone that day. Interview number 3. In this interview, Troconis changed her entire story regarding the absence of Dulos' cell phone that day by acknowledging Dulos' cell phone was sitting on the 4-group office as she and Kent Mawhinney stood in the office, and that it received an incoming call on that date. The phone rang, and it was a call from, well, it said Andreas, and Kent stood up. According to Troconis, Mawhinney mentioned for her to answer the cell phone. In answering a question from Attorney Bowman, Troconis responded, he, Mawhinney, said, like, "There's a phone ringing. Are you going to do something with the phone or the call?" And I picked up the phone. Troconis stated she knew Andreas, a childhood friend of Doulos who lives in Greece, but that she was not sure if it was Andreas calling. Troconis also indicated she heard static when she answered the cell phone and that it was difficult to hear. Troconis reported that she heard the Greek word for hello and that she responded hola, the Spanish word for hello. Troconis explained that the call was short and lasted only a few seconds before ending. Doulos' cell phone data shows a 17-second phone call. Troconis stated, and I'm pretty sure it was Andreas' voice. Troconis indicated that there was no follow-up phone call and that soon after the call, she left the office, leaving Doulos' cell phone sitting on the table. Troconis' morning alibis. Troconis provided herself with several methods for investigators to rule out her presence at the crime scene on the morning of 5/24/19. Interview number 1, her initial interview, Troconis made the following claims. She left Jefferson Crossing on 5/24/19 at approximately 9:10 a.m. and dropped off an item to a friend, thereby providing herself with an in-person alibi before traveling north to the Simsbury Stop and Shop, where she took photographs of herself and a store robot, providing a secondary alibi. On her way home, Troconis stopped by an additional address in West Simsbury, where she met with a different friend, providing a third alibi. When asked if Dulos was home on the morning of 5/24/19, Troconis responded by telling detectives that her locations were substantiated by photographs and texts on her cell phone. She did not answer the actual question asked. Interview number 2. Without prompting, Troconis provided a description of the clothing she was wearing at the Simsbury Stop and Shop to help investigators identify her on store surveillance. Interview number 3. Detectives continued to question Troconis about the alibi scripts, which Troconis admitted having written with Dulos. Although she appeared to deflect more of the onus for writing the document onto Doulos, investigators pointed out that he wrote notes for Michelle, which were false. Troconis grudgingly admitted that portions of the alibi scripts were factually inaccurate, and that she had nonetheless provided these falsehoods to police as facts. They were factually inaccurate. 25. Troconis' lunch with Dulos on 5/24/19. Troconis was inconsistent when questioned about Dulos' arrival home on Jefferson Crossing for their lunch together on 5/24/19. Interview number 1. Troconis reported returning to Jefferson Crossing at approximately 12 p.m. She stated the Ford Raptor was not on the property because Gamiani was driving it. Troconis stated that the 4-group Chevrolet Suburban was there. Detectives asked Troconis if anyone else was at the house at noon. She responded, "I had lunch with Fotis, but later, not immediately." Detectives asked Troconis to be clear if Fotis was home when Troconis returned to the house as late as noon. Troconis responded, "He probably can be because he has the office on top. I mean, I didn't look for him." Troconis reported a different time frame for the lunch she ate with Dulos on 5/24/19. Interview number 1, Troconis first reported 1 p.m. She changed the time to between 1 and 2 p.m. Interview number 2, sometime prior to 1 p.m. Interview number 3, between noon and 1:30 p.m. Alibi script said between noon and 1. Surveillance shows the Toyota Tacoma pulling into 80 Mountain Spring Road at approximately 12:25 p.m. Interview number 2, her second interview, Troconis explained when Dulos returned home for lunch that day, he was wearing jeans and a light shirt with short sleeves, similar to polo, whereas during the third interview, Troconis claimed Dulos was wearing a collared, button-down shirt with the sleeves rolled up and that he appeared normal. Interview number 3, in this interview, Troconis admitted she could not account for Dulos' whereabouts on the morning of 5/24/2019. When asked if she could confirm Dulos' whereabouts on the morning of 5/24, she acknowledged she could not. Troconis claimed that she had not found it unusual for Dulos to have absolutely no contact with her during the entire morning of 5/24. She claimed on some days they speak 20 times, while on other days they had no contact at all. "80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. This property located at 80 Mountain Spring Road is a large, isolated property owned by the 4 Group, and it includes a massive 11,000-plus square foot mansion with 5 bedrooms, 5 full and 3 half baths situated on a 5.08-acre lot. The location is a 5-minute, 2.1-mile drive from 4 Jefferson Crossing. Throughout her 3 interviews, Troconis provided vastly differing accounts, all of which conflicted with location data gleaned from Dulos's and Troconis' cell phones. Interview number 1. In her initial interview, Troconis provided the following information. Troconis reported Dulos called her on her phone to tell her that they both had to go over to 80 Mountain Spring Road to clean the house in preparation for a client meeting the next morning. She described it as common for them to use their cell phones to call one another. Troconis had to bring a vacuum, a Swiffer mop, paper towels, Clorox spray, and garbage bags. Troconis reported she and Dulos drove the 2.1 miles south to 80 Mountain Spring Road in separate vehicles, sometime between 2:15 p.m. and 3 o'clock p.m. Residential surveillance shows Dulos driving his 2015 Chevrolet Suburban, followed by Troconis driving a 2014 Jeep Cherokee registered to the 4 group, arriving at 80 Mountain Spring Road at approximately 1:36 p.m. Soon after arriving, Troconis reported she discovered the vacuum she had brought did not work. She explained how she returned to Jefferson Crossing to obtain a small broom. In order to clarify her story, detectives asked Troconis what she first saw when she drove into the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road. She reported seeing the Suburban, already parked, with Dulos standing inside. The south garage bay. Troconis indicated that at approximately 3 p.m. she returned to Jefferson Crossing. She explained the way the Jeep was parked. It was easier to drive the Suburban. Troconis reported she went back to 80 Mountain Spring Road between 3 and 4 p.m., and when she arrived, she observed Dulos talking on his phone out in the area of the driveway where the cars are parked. Troconis began cleaning windows, but then gave up because she realized the house was too big. Interview number 2. Troconis continued to claim that she did not know what Dulos was doing on the property. When Troconis was told that Dulos had killed his wife and involved her, Troconis, in the cleanup, she responded by saying, "That's like even worse. I hate him because of that." Affiant Kimball told Troconis, "He got you in trouble." Troconis replied, "But I was cleaning the house. I wasn't cleaning Jennifer." Interview number 3. During the third interview, Troconis provided some entirely new information. During interviews 1 and 2, Troconis repeatedly told investigators she had been cleaning windows while at 80 Mountain Spring Road. During the third interview, Troconis began claiming she had been cleaning bathrooms. Troconis indicated that when Gummiani arrived at 80 Mountain Spring Road at approximately 5 p.m., she and Dulos had been standing up against the Toyota Tacoma's passenger side. Fotis Dulos and I were against the car. The Tacoma, Fotis was like behind me, like physical contact. Powell, Gummiani, arrives. I think Powell or Fotis says, "I didn't see anything," or "we weren't doing anything." I think something like a joke. When asked to explain her meaning, and Troconis answered, like, "Yeah, we were making..." Troconis appeared to be saying that Gummiani's arrival interrupted Dulos and Troconis from engaging in sex alongside the passenger side of the Toyota. Troconis told investigators that she was inside 80 Mountain Spring Road when Dulos came inside looking for paper towels because he had spilled something in the Toyota Tacoma. Supposedly, Dulos went back outside to clean out spilled coffee, and then he returned to her and handed her the paper towels, which she threw in the garbage. Troconis explained he, Dulos, said that he spilled, I think it was coffee. When asked where Dulos had spilled the coffee, Troconis responded, in one of the cars. That's what he told me. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but the paper towel was dirty. Troconis indicated the used paper towel had been brown in color. She also told investigators that the soiled paper towel did not smell like coffee. In all 3 interviews, Troconis described how she repeatedly drove back and forth between 80 Mountain Spring Road and 4 Jefferson Crossing using both the Jeep and the Suburban. The timing she provided is not corroborated by the cellular data of Troconis' and Dulos' cell phones. Dulos appears to remain at 80 Mountain Spring Road from approximately 1:36 p.m. until approximately 4:07 p.m., approximately 2.5 hours. Albany Avenue, Hartford. Starting in her first interview, Troconis told investigators that between 6:30 p.m. and 7 p.m., Dulos had offered to go to a Starbucks located in West Hartford. Interview number 1. Troconis explained that she and Dulos rode toward the Starbucks in the Ford Raptor. Troconis reported she was on her phone, and she wasn't aware of what was going on. Dulos drove past the Starbucks to what Troconis described as a creepy area, which was a crowded place with fire and police vehicles. Troconis explained. He, Dulos, stopped and we stopped. He throws something from the back, a bag or I don't know what. I wasn't really paying attention. Troconis asked Dulos, "Why are we here? Like, it doesn't make sense." She went on to state, "We've thrown garbage bags in other opportunities, but I've never been in that area." Troconis described how Dulos threw at least 1 garbage bag into a dumpster. Interview number 1, detectives showed Troconis screenshots taken from C4 surveillance footage showing the large black-colored pickup truck and the male wearing the light-colored shirt, dark pants, and the ball cap. Troconis identified the male as Dulos, and the truck is the 2014 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor pickup truck, registered to the Ford Group. Troconis also confirmed she was the female passenger pictured leaning out of the passenger side door of the Ford Raptor. Detectives asked Troconis what was in the back of the Raptor. She responded, I don't know. I wasn't looking. I was on the phone. I was probably talking to Patu, my friend Patu." Interview number 1. Troconis explained that following the Albany Avenue leg of their trip, she and Dulos went to the Starbucks. Video footage from the Starbucks showed Dulos and Troconis entering the store on 5/24/19 and purchasing food and drink at approximately 7:59 p.m. Interview number 2. The Albany Avenue trip was not discussed during the second interview. Interview number 3. During her interview, Troconis began changing elements of her story. She changed her explanation of the items she was instructed by Doulos to bring to 80 Mountain Spring Road and of her activities at that location. Troconis listed items she brought to 80 Mountain Spring Road. I brought a bucket, a sponge, garbage bags, disposable gloves. Troconis described the items, the bucket as white, the sponge as yellow and green, the garbage bags as black. Troconis also brought Windex, Clorox bleach, a vacuum, broom, and paper towels. Investigators asked Troconis what she was planning on cleaning. She responded, "The house, and I wasn't going to clean it all." Interview number 3. Troconis told investigators she had arrived at 80 Mountain Spring Road, driving the Jeep Cherokee as Doulos drove the 2015 Suburban. When they arrived, Gamieni's Toyota Tacoma was already present. Troconis claimed to have no knowledge of why or how the Toyota came to be on the property. Troconis claimed she was inside 80 Mountain Spring Road cleaning bathrooms when she saw Doulos from the master bedroom window. She claimed Doulos was setting up stakes to keep people from parking on the newly seeded grass. At some point, Doulos went down into the basement of the 80 Mountain Spring Road property, and when she returned to 4 Jefferson Crossing for a broom, investigators asked Troconis if there is anything going on at 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington, that she doesn't want to be part of. Troconis replied, "No, not that I know, not of my knowledge." Interview number 3. Troconis told investigators that she was inside the residence cleaning when Dulos came inside looking for paper towels, claiming he spilled something. Troconis explained that Dulos went out to clean and returned to her and gave her the paper towel he had used, which she threw in the garbage. Troconis explained Dulos had claimed he was cleaning spilled coffee. When detectives asked where Dulos had spilled the coffee, she responded, in one of the cars. That's what he told me. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but the paper towel was dirty. When asked about the color of the soiled towel, Troconis reported it as brown. Investigators told Troconis it was difficult to believe that she didn't know what was going on, and Troconis responded by saying, I didn't know what was going on, and up to now I didn't see anything. Investigators asked where Dulos was cleaning the coffee stains, and she said, I believe it was in the Tacoma. Russell Speeder's car wash. Investigation determined that on 5/29/2019, Dulos and Troconis together shuttled Gummieni's Toyota Tacoma pickup truck to Russell Speeder's car wash on West Main Street in Avon, Connecticut. In order to have the vehicle thoroughly cleaned and detailed, Dulos paid $250 in cash to have these services performed and did so without Gummieni's knowledge or permission. Residential surveillance from Jefferson Crossing showed a black Chevrolet Yukon followed by a red pickup truck driving on Jefferson Crossing towards Eli Road at 8:56 a.m. During interview number 3, Troconis indicated Dulos was driving the Tacoma and she was operating the Yukon as they drove to Russell Speeder's car wash in Avon. Russell Speeder's surveillance footage showed the Toyota pickup entering the parking lot area at approximately 9:05 a.m., and Dulos can be seen entering the lobby and speaking with a Russell Speeder's representative who records the following information on a detailed log sheet for the vehicle. The name field is left blank. The phone number recorded is Troconis' cellular number. The vehicle field is filled out as a Toyota Sienna. The time field is recorded as 8:44. The detail field is marked full. The price field is marked $250. According to Troconis, Dulos got into the Chevy Yukon and the two traveled to the law offices of attorney Andrew Bowman, who currently represents Troconis. At approximately 1:39 p.m., Troconis' phone records show an incoming call from a number 860-269-3136, which is listed business phone number of Russell Speeder's car wash. At approximately 2:28 p.m., Troconis' phone records placed her cell phone in the area of the People's United Bank, located at 310 West Main Street in Avon. At approximately 2:28 p.m., Russell Speeder's surveillance shows Dulos entering the lobby to pay for the detailing of the Toyota. Both Dulos and Troconis were arrested on September 4th, 2019 and September 5th, 2019, respectively, largely based on their roles outlined above to tamper with and or fabricate physical evidence in violation of the Connecticut General Statutes. 29. 2001 Toyota Tacoma. On June 6, 2019, detectives seized the 2001 Toyota Tacoma at the residence of Powell Gummieni. During the search warrant execution, Gummieni told detectives that the seats which were installed in the Toyota were different from the seats which had been in the truck on 5/24/19. Gummieni signed a written consent to search, and he provided the seats to police voluntarily. Pursuant to a Joyce warrant, the seats were sent to the DESPP Forensic Laboratory for testing. The results indicated Jennifer Dulos' blood was found on the passenger seat of the vehicle, the bicycle. Paul Gummieni told investigators he was aware that Dulos owned an older model, black or brown bicycle, which he had brought with him when he moved to the United States. Doulos had told Gummieni the bike was made in France and was his childhood bicycle. Dulos had asked Gamieni to fix the bicycle during the fall of 2018 or the beginning of 2019. Gamieni remembered the bicycle had been routinely stored on a hook in the garage at 4 Jefferson Crossing. During interview number 3, Troconis reported seeing such bicycle at 80 Mountain Spring Road. When detectives showed Troconis photographs of the interior of the 4 Jefferson Crossing garage taken on 6/3/2019, she indicated Dulos' bicycle was missing from the photo. Troconis pointed out the empty hook where Dulos' bike normally hung. Evidence recovered from the Albany Avenue trash receptacles contained a logo consistent with a vintage Mercier brand bicycle, a French-made bicycle consistent with Gamieni's description. Detectives located photographs taken in 2008 at a residence shared by Jennifer and Fotis, which showed a dark-colored vintage bicycle which was consistent with the bicycle of Dulos. On the day of Jennifer's disappearance, residential surveillance footage on Weed Street, New Canaan, showed an individual dressed in a hooded sweatshirt and dark clothing riding a bicycle consistent with Dulos' bike towards Jennifer's residence. Surveillance timeline. The detectives conducted an extensive canvass for surveillance sources along the routes in the Farmington-Avon area within the town of New Canaan and points in between. These vehicles included a black 2015 Chevy Suburban, registered to the Ford Group, a white 2014 Jeep Cherokee Laredo, registered to the Ford Group, a Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, black in color, registered to the Ford Group and commonly operated by Doulos. Investigators developed information that in the days leading up to the date of Jennifer's disappearance, the vehicle had been provided by Doulos to his employee, Paul Gamieni. A red 2001 Toyota Tacoma pickup associated with Paul Gamieni. Specific components of this vehicle were compared on the video sources to verify vehicle consistency. Surveillance video gleaned from the day prior, 5/23/19, and from the date of the crime, 5/24/19, included the following: 4:51 p.m. This is on 5/23, the day before. Surveillance from a residence located just south of Jefferson Crossing on Eli Road shows a vehicle consistent with the Raptor traveling north on Eli Road towards Jefferson Crossing. 4:54, surveillance shows what appears to be Paul Gamieni's Toyota Tacoma traveling south along Eli Road, followed by Fotis Dulos' Ford Raptor. The footage shows that these vehicles appearing to travel in tandem on Eli Road from Jefferson Crossing toward 80 Mountain Spring Road. 4:57 p.m. Surveillance capturing the driveway at 80 Mountain Spring Road show a Toyota Tacoma and a Ford Raptor coming from the direction of Eli Road, pulling into the 80 Mountain Spring Road property. 5:01, surveillance shows a Ford Raptor leaving the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road and turning onto Mountain Spring Road northbound to travel back towards the Doulos residence. The Eli Road surveillance source shows a Ford Raptor traveling northbound toward the Doulos residence. Data obtained via search warrant from the OnStar module of Doulos' 2014 Ford Raptor indicated the vehicle was located at 4 Jefferson Crossing when the gear shift was placed into drive at 5:10 p.m. 5:32 p.m. Surveillance on Eli Road shows a Chevy Suburban with a Ford Group placard on its front passenger door, traveling south on Eli Road away from Jefferson Crossing and towards Mountain Spring Road. .535 surveillance on Mountain Spring Road shows a black Chevy Suburban coming from the direction of Eli Road and pulling into the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road. 541 surveillance on Mountain Spring Road shows a black Chevy Suburban exiting the driveway of 80 Mountain Spring Road. 535 a red Toyota Tacoma pickup drives off the property at 80 Mountain Spring Road and turns left onto Mountain Spring Road southbound. on the Merritt Parkway, Route 15, passing the Fairfield Rest Area at 6:36 a.m. Okay, this is the morning of her disappearance. 7:03 a.m., Route 15 southbound, New Canaan. Detectives locate a red Toyota Tacoma consistent with Gummiani's truck traveling southbound on the Merritt Parkway, Route 15, passing the New Canaan Rest Area at 7:03 a.m. 7:05 a.m., Lapham Road, New Canaan. Video from New Canaan school buses showed an empty turnout on Lapham Road southbound just north of the Merritt Parkway overpass at 7:05 a.m. 7:31 a.m., Weed Street, New Canaan. Video from a residential surveillance system showed a person riding a bicycle in a northwest direction along Weed Street. The cyclist appeared to be dressed in all dark clothing with a hood pulled down, low to hide their face. The bicycle being ridden appeared to be dark-colored touring bike with the curled ram horn handlebars common on vintage 10-speed bicycles. The bicycle appeared to have metallic reflective rims. Witness statements including from Powell Gummiani, and photographic evidence established that Dulos owned the vintage bicycle matching this description. The location of this surveillance falls in line with a 20-minute bike route from the Waveney Park section of Lapham Road, the location at which the Toyota was staged, to 69 Wellis Lane. The direction of the rider is towards Wellis Lane and away from Waveney Park. Lapham Road, New Canaan. A New Canaan school bus traveling southbound on Lapham Road at 7:40 a.m. showed the same turnout occupied by a red Toyota truck consistent with Gummiani's pickup. The turnoff is within approximately 100 feet of turnoff that Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban would later be found on, abandoned. The back of the truck appeared empty. 7:57 a.m., Lapham Road, New Canaan. At 7:57 a.m., a school bus traveling northbound on Lapham Road showed the Toyota still parked in the same dirt turnout on Lapham Road. 8:05 a.m., victim arrives home. At 8:05 a.m., Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban is shown on residential security camera driving eastbound along Wellis Lane towards her residence after Jennifer dropped off her children at school. 8:05 to 10:25 a.m., murder and cleanup. At some point between Jennifer's arrival home and 10:25 a.m., the crimes occur in the garage and the residence. Doulos packages Jennifer using plastic zip ties and places her inside her own 2017 Chevrolet Suburban. Doulos cleans the garage using supplies he finds in the garage and paper towels from the kitchen. Suspect leaves the scene 10:25 a.m. At 10:25 a.m., residential surveillance on Wellis Lane shows Jennifer's 2017 Chevrolet Suburban traveling westbound away from 69 Wellis Lane. Cellular data obtained from Jennifer's cell phone is consistent with the phone moving from Wellis Lane to Lapham Road during this time frame. 11:12 a.m., Route 15 northbound, New Canaan. The Toyota Tacoma is shown traveling northbound on the Merritt Parkway, passing the New Canaan rest area at 11:12 a.m. An object is now visible in the rear bed of the truck, which appears to be the rim of a bicycle. 11:25 a.m., Route 15, northbound Fairfield. The Toyota Tacoma is seen traveling northbound on the Merritt Parkway, passing the Fairfield rest area at 11:25 a.m. 11:40 a.m., Route 8, northbound Derby. The Toyota Tacoma is seen traveling northbound on Route 8, passing Valley Transit District, 12 Main Street, Derby at 11:40 a.m. The Toyota Tacoma is shown traveling eastbound along I-84 in Waterbury near exit 25A at 12 p.m. 12:22 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the Toyota Tacoma pulling into the driveway at 80 Mountain Spring Road at 12:22 p.m. 1:36 p.m. Surveillance shows a white Jeep followed by a black Chevy Suburban with a rack pulling into the 80 Mountain Spring Road. According to Troconis, she was operating the Jeep and Dulos was driving the Chevrolet. 2:01 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the white Jeep pulling into 80 Mountain Spring Road from the direction of Jefferson Crossing. This follows a call from Doulos to Troconis at 1:53 p.m. at a time his handset is in the area of 80 Mountain Spring Road. The footage is consistent with Troconis' arrival at 80 Mountain Spring Road after receiving the call from Doulos. 2:24 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road. Surveillance shows the white Jeep pulling out of 80 Mountain Spring Road and turning right onto Mountain Spring Road northbound towards Jefferson Crossing. 3:55. Surveillance shows the Jeep returning to 80 Mountain Spring Road. 4:03. Residential surveillance shows the black Chevrolet Suburban with the rack leaving 80 Mountain Spring Road. '80 Mountain Spring Road, 4:23 p.m., 20 minutes after Troconis drove away in the Chevy Suburban. Residential surveillance shows the Suburban returning. Both Troconis and Doulos' cell phones appear to remain at Jefferson Crossing. 4:58 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the Ford Raptor being operated by Gummiani arriving at 80 Mountain Spring Road. According to his statement, Gummiani has already gone to 4 Jefferson Crossing, having arrived at approximately 4:30 p.m. Gummiani found no one at the residence, and he was unable to reach Dulos by phone. Gummiani went to the kitchen expecting to find the key to his Toyota Tacoma, which is normally kept where it's normally kept, but he was unable to find it. Gummiani then drove first to Deer Cliff Road and then on to 80 Mountain Spring Road, where he encountered Doulos and Troconis in the driveway. 5:02 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the Ford Raptor leaving the property as Gummiani drives the truck back to Jefferson Crossing. Within approximately 30 seconds, the Jeep is shown backing out of the driveway and stopping on Mountain Spring Road just south of the driveway. The black Chevy Suburban then pulls to the end of the driveway and sits for within possible earshot of the Jeep for 10 to 15 seconds for no apparent reason, no traffic passing, before pulling out to travel north on Mountain Spring Road towards Jefferson Crossing. Troconis follows the Suburban northbound in the Jeep. 5:14 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Surveillance shows the Ford Raptor pulling into 80 Mountain Spring Road from the direction of Jefferson Crossing. This is Doulos driving the Ford Raptor with Gummiani as the passenger. Gummiani tries to pick up his Toyota Tacoma. According to Gummiani's statement, when he arrived back at his truck, he noticed the key, which had been seen in the passenger door lock, had been removed. The absence of the only key to the vehicle prevented Gummiani from driving his vehicle. Doulos offered to let Gummiani take the Ford Raptor for the weekend, but Gummiani said he wanted to transport his dirt bike from the Doulos residence to his own house in Simsbury, and Gummiani wanted to use the Toyota to accomplish this. 5:16 p.m., Doulos' cell phone. Data shows calls to Troconis telling her to return with the keys. 5:24 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road. Residential surveillance shows the black Chevy Suburban entering the driveway as Troconis brings the Toyota keys back to Gummiani. '80 Mountain Spring Road, Farmington. Residential surveillance shows the black Chevy Suburban driven by Troconis leaving 80 Mountain Spring Road towards Jefferson Crossing. The red Toyota Tacoma driven by Gummiani pulls out of Mountain Spring Road northbound seconds later. 5:28 p.m., 80 Mountain Spring Road. Residential surveillance shows the Ford Raptor pulling out onto Mountain Spring Road northbound as Doulos leaves. Okay, I've got to get a drink. Hang on. Okay. Now we have Kent Mawhinney. This is the attorney that was arrested also today. Kent Mawhinney is a close friend of Doulos and a practicing attorney who lives in South Windsor. His law practice is based in Bloomfield, Connecticut. Mawhinney's name appeared on the alibi scripts written by Dulos and Troconis, and he was identified by Troconis during all three of her interviews as a person present in the 4-group office on the morning of 5/24/19 for a meeting with Dulos. Mawhinney was interviewed on 6/9/19 and then again on 6/25/19 by detectives to obtain his personal knowledge of events which transpired in the 4-group office located above the garage of Dulos' residence, and specifically any contact he may have had with Dulos, Troconis, or any other persons on the day of Jennifer's disappearance. Mawhinney's statements included: Mawhinney stated he met Michelle for the first time within the last 30 days of this meeting at 4 Jefferson Crossing, Farmington. Mawhinney was aware that Fotis had been dating Michelle prior to him meeting her for the first time. Mawhinney stated that there was no scheduled meeting with Dulos on the morning of 5/24/19, and he acknowledged he did not see Dulos that morning. In his second interview, Mawhinney changed his account of 5/24/2019 to reflect that there was a prearranged meeting with Dulos that morning. Mawhinney continued to maintain he did not see Dulos that morning. Mawhinney indicated he arrived at 4 Jefferson Crossing at approximately 7:40, where he remained approximately 40 to 50 minutes before leaving. When asked if he had contact with Dulos on 5/23/19, the day before Jennifer's disappearance, Mawhinney claimed he could not remember. Dulos' phone records show an outgoing call to Mawhinney on 5/23/19 at 5:33 p.m. Mawhinney denied any phone contact with Dulos on 5/24/2019. Dulos' phone records documented an outgoing call to Mawhinney on 5/24 at 7:47 p.m. During a second interview with police, Mawhinney reported he had received a concussion resulting from a fall down a set of stairs, oh, how convenient, on May 25th. The day after Jennifer's disappearance, Mawhinney reported he had to replace his cell phone after the fall damaged the phone screen. How inconvenient. Mawhinney reported he still had no memory of seeing Dulos or Troconis on 5/24. Mawhinney reported he could not remember any incoming calls on 5/24 at 8:26 a.m. And when pressed on whether he answered any calls that morning, Mawhinney responded, "Why would I direct someone to answer a phone?" Detectives had to explain to Mawhinney that was not answering the question, but being asked several times. In her third interview, Troconis did assert that Mawhinney had directed her to answer an incoming call to Dulos' cell phone, which was lying on the desk in the 4-group office. In his first interview, Mawhinney had denied having any contact whatsoever with Dulos on 5/24. In his second interview, prior to any questions by detectives on the topic, Mawhinney stated, "I don't remember having contact with him, Dulos. If there's a phone call, I guess I did. But I don't remember having contact with Fotis." Mawhinney was asked if he would know why Dulos would have contacted him while dumping evidence into trash receptacles in Hartford, Connecticut. Mawhinney reiterated that he did not remember any kind of contact with Dulos and did not know why Fotis would call him while he was disposing of evidence. 33. Powell Gamiani. At the time of Jennifer's disappearance, Powell Gamiani was the project manager with 4-Group, having been a full-time employee of Doulos since 2016. Gamiani worked with Doulos daily and considered himself to be a friend of Doulos. Gamiani routinely operated the 2001 Toyota Tacoma, registered to his wife, Barbara Gamiani. Barbara had her own vehicle, did not drive the Toyota truck. According to Gamiani, the vehicle had some mechanical issues, but was reliable enough for him to use to drive to the approximate 9-mile trip to Dulos' residence in Farmington. Gamiani would regularly leave the Toyota parked at 4 Jefferson Crossing during the work week, and Dulos would provide him a 4-Group vehicle to drive. usually the Ford Raptor or the Jeep Cherokee. During the week when the Toyota was parked at 4 Jefferson Crossing, Gummieni would leave the sole vehicle key at Dulos' residence. Gummieni provided multiple voluntary interviews with investigators. The third 8-hour interview took place on 7/12/2019 at Troop G Barracks, during which Gummieni was accompanied by defense attorney Linda Urso. Following the first interview, and with the permission of attorney Urso, Gummieni provided information to detectives on several subsequent occasions. The information provided by Gummieni over the course of these conversations included the following. Gummieni explained Dulos told him he would get in trouble if he talked to police because Gummieni only had a green card, a permanent resident card. Doulos contacted an attorney on behalf of Gummieni, who in turn referred Gummieni to attorney Urso. Gummieni routinely drives a 4-group vehicle during his work week. He would leave the Toyota at the 4-group office and would leave the key either in the 4-group office or the kitchen of the residence. On either 5/17 or 5/20, Doulos asked Gummieni if he could move Gummieni's truck to 80 Mountain Spring Road because the truck was leaking oil. On 5/23/19, Doulos told Gummieni to forego stopping at the 4-group office on the following morning because Doulos was having a meeting with his divorce lawyer. Doulos told Gummieni he was to drive straight to New Canaan on 5/24. Gummieni stated, routinely does not stop at the office unless he needed to pick up something. On the morning of 5/24, Gummieni was operating the 2014 Ford Raptor, registered to the 4-group, and loaned to him the previous day by Doulos. The Raptor OnStar module downloaded showed the vehicle being shifted into drive at 7:55 a.m. at or near Gummieni's residence in Simsbury. Gummieni and Doulos' cellular records show a text conversation between the men that occurred 5/24/2019 at 2:13 p.m. in which Doulos asked Gummieni when he was returning to the office. Gummieni reported he would be at 4 Jefferson Crossing at approximately 4:30 p.m. Gummieni reported that he had arrived at the 4-group office. He found no one was there. Gummieni tried calling and texting Doulos repeatedly, but was not able to reach him. He searched for the key to his Toyota, but he couldn't find it. Gummieni drove down to 585 Deer Cliff Road to retrieve a board he used as a ramp for his dirt bike. Gummieni then drove to 80 Mountain Spring Road to see if Doulos was there. When he arrived, he saw both Troconis and Doulos in the driveway. He reported that they both looked surprised to see him. Gummieni asked Doulos what they were doing, and he said they were cleaning. Doulos reported Troconis was cleaning windows, while he was cleaning some stuff up outside. Gummieni reported he noticed Doulos and Troconis were not holding any cleaning products, and there were no products near the vehicles. A short time later, all three left the property, each driving a separate vehicle. Gummieni was driving the Ford Raptor, Doulos was driving the Chevy Suburban, and Troconis driving the Jeep. Gummieni's Toyota remained in the driveway. He noticed the car key was sticking out of the passenger door lock. Gummieni drove first to 585 Deer Cliff Road and then to 4 Jefferson Crossing to pick up Doulos before returning to 80 Mountain Spring Road to pick up his Toyota truck. When they arrived, Gummieni realized the sole key to his Toyota, which minutes before had been seen by him protruding from the passenger door, was now gone. Doulos asked Gummieni if he wanted to take the Ford Raptor home, but Gummieni told Doulos he wanted to put his dirt bike in the bed of the Toyota and take it home. Doulos called Troconis and told her to bring back the key, and Troconis arrived a few minutes later with the key. On May 26th, Dulos spoke with Gummiani and told him Jennifer was missing. He went on to ask Gummiani when he would be returning to work. As the next day was Memorial Day, Gummiani told Dulos he would be back to work on Tuesday. When Gummiani arrived at work on 5/28/2019, he walked into Dulos' kitchen and handed him the key to his Toyota, as he would be using a 4-group vehicle for the next work week. Dulos asked Gummiani where he was on Friday, which Gummiani found to be a strange question, because he knew where Gummiani was. He was working at the 61 Sturbridge Hill Road job site in New Canaan, as Dulos had told him to do. Dulos told Gummiani that the police had seized his phone, and he asked to see Gummiani's phone because he wanted to check to see if Gummiani had called him during the early portion of the day on Friday. As he looked through Gummiani's phone, Dulos asked Gummiani how he had gotten back to the 4-group office on Friday, and Gummiani reviewed Friday afternoon. He mentioned the aspect of how Dulos had called Draconis to return the Toyota key to 80 Mountain Spring Road. Dulos told Gummiani that there was no reason to bring Michelle into this, and to leave that part out. Gummiani took that to mean Dulos was telling him not to tell police about Draconis having possession of the Toyota key. Following the conversation, Gummiani went to the truck to get the toolbox and saw a red pail with a blue handle with a blue hoodie inside it. Gummiani did not recognize the pail or the sweatshirt. Assuming the items belonged to Dulos, Gummiani brought the items into the house and left them in the laundry room. Gummiani then drove the 4-group Jeep to 61 Sturbridge Hill Road in New Canaan to work for the day. On Wednesday, 5/29/2019, Gummiani discovered his Toyota was not parked where he had left it at 4 Jefferson Crossing. When he called Dulos to inquire where his truck was, Dulos told him that he was coming back with the vehicle from a car wash. And when he arrived back at Jefferson Crossing with the truck, Dulos began telling Gummiani he should replace the seats or sell the entire truck. Dulos offered to sell Gummiani the 4-group Jeep, but Gummiani declined. When Gummiani got into the Tacoma, he realized that the vehicle had not just been washed, but had been detailed as well. At some point during the week, Dulos called Gummiani to tell him that the media was outside his home. He told Gummiani to come get the Toyota and to park it inside the garage or to take the truck home. On May 30th, Dulos told Gummiani he should go to a junkyard to buy replacement seats for the Toyota and pay cash for them. Dulos told him he would reimburse him whatever the cost was in cash. Excuse me. Dulos also told Gummiani that during future phone calls, he was to avoid using the word seats and should instead refer to the seats as hardware. On May 31st, 2019, at Dulos' urging, Gummiani went to a junkyard and spent 2 hours looking for seats to replace those currently in his Toyota. After his search was unsuccessful, Gummiani received a phone call from Dulos, who was inquiring on his progress on the hardware. Gummiani responded that he was working on it. When Gummiani returned to the office, Dulos appeared angry that he had failed to find replacement seats, and he described Dulos as being firm in his viewpoint that seats needed to be replaced. When Gummiani asked Dulos why he wanted him to change the seats, Dulos told Gummiani not to worry about it, that nothing happened, and repeated he should not worry about it. Gummiani pressed Dulos on why he had cleaned the Tacoma and why he was insisting on the seats being changed. Dulos then told Gummiani the reason lay in the fact that when he went to Jennifer's house on Mother's Day, he had given Jennifer a hug, adding that he had also held Jennifer's cat during the visit. That sounds weird after Severs. Dulos claimed he was worried that one of Jennifer's hairs could be found in the Tacoma. Doulos told Gamiani to change the Tacoma seats and get rid of the old ones so no one would ever find them. The only alternative Gamiani could think of was to use the seats from Doulos' wrecked Porsche, which he removed on 5/31/19, and after removing the Tacoma seats and substituting the Porsche seats, he remained suspicious about Doulos' claimed reasons for having the seats removed. Instead of getting rid of the seats, Gamiani kept the seats in the garage of his residence in case the police ever wanted to take them. Okay. On 6/6/2019, personnel was executing a search and seizure warrant at Gamiani's residence involving the seizure of his Toyota Tacoma. Without prompting, Gamiani advised Sergeant Al Bison that the seats had been changed. Subsequent to Jennifer's disappearance on 5/24, Gamiani offered the seats installed in the Tacoma at the time of the crime to Sergeant Bison, who seized them using a written consent to search form signed by Gamiani. I missed something. During the 7/12/19 interview, Gamiani was shown a surveillance picture of the Toyota Tacoma, which he immediately identified without hesitation as his truck. Gamiani displayed what appeared to be genuine surprise upon learning his Toyota was caught on surveillance in New Canaan on 5/24/19. In identifying his own vehicle, Gamiani pointed out several specific aspects on the vehicle, including a unique plow mount which he had handmade. Gamiani voluntarily provided his cell phone, for which a search and seizure warrant was sought and granted. A forensic examination of the phone showed certain items had been deleted. When asked about the deletions, Gamiani vehemently denied deleting any material from the phone. In reviewing the deleted material, it is notable that on 5/28/2019, Doulos had physical possession of Gamiani's unlocked phone in order to check his call history. The deleted items included web history, entire web history from beginning of the phone history, earliest 8/28/17, deleted up until 5/27/19. The next intact entry dated 5/30/2019. Searched items. Searches from 4/2/19 to 5/27/19 deleted. Searches prior to 4/2/2019 sporadically deleted. Searches on 5/30/2019 moving forward not deleted. Call log 5/25/19 to 5/26/19, 7:39 p.m. deleted. Next entry 7:53 p.m. not deleted. Okay. Lauren Almeida. Detectives interviewed Lauren, the longtime child care employee hired by Jennifer starting in May of 2013 as a full-time nanny working with the 5 Dulos children, working closely with Jennifer until the day of her disappearance. On May 21st, Ms. Almeida worked at Jennifer's home, located at 69 Wells Lane in New Canaan, cleaning up the 3rd South garage bay by stacking the children's equipment on shelves. On Wednesday, May 22nd, Ms. Almeida was at 69 Wells Lane preparing for a supervised visit, which was scheduled to start at 4:30 p.m. 30 minutes prior to Doulos' scheduled arrival, Jennifer ran down the stairs saying that Doulos had already arrived. By the time Jennifer contacted Doulos, he had driven all the way up the driveway and was near the garage bays. He claimed he was confused about the time of the visit. despite the routine time of 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. being established and confirmed by Doulos well in advance. Doulos was also aware he was not to enter the property prior to the arrival of Dennis Puebla, the third-party observer, or Puebla's designee. The plan for the 5/22/2019 visitation was for Doulos to take the children to Grace Farms in New Canaan for a picnic. Doulos suddenly realized that Grace Farms closed at 6 p.m. that date and gained Jennifer's permission to return to 69 Wells Lane to picnic with the children outside the house in the rear yard. Jennifer's agreement was partially attributable to the fact that Sidney Streeter, a third-party observer and designee of Puebla, would be at the home monitoring Doulos at all times. Jennifer and Ms. Almeida took steps to ensure Doulos did not enter the residence, as Jennifer was strictly opposed to Doulos ever entering the home. They placed the food out on the rear patio table and locked the rear mudroom door to prevent Doulos from entering the kitchen. On 5/23, Jennifer discussed the possibility of Ms. Almeida staying overnight at 69 Wells Lane, as Jennifer had an early doctor's appointment in the city the next morning. Jennifer ultimately decided she would stay in New Canaan, bring the children to school per usual, then leave for the appointment. She told Miss Almeida it would not be necessary for her to stay at Wells Lane that night. Jennifer also told Ms. Almeida that she was planning on taking the Range Rover to the city because it was smaller and easier to park than the Suburban. On 5/24/2019, Ms. Almeida arrived at 69 Wells Lane at 11:30 a.m. As usual, she opened the center bay garage door via the keypad and immediately noticed the Range Rover was still parked in the garage while the Suburban was gone. Upon entering the kitchen, she noticed Jennifer's handbag was on the floor in the doorway between the mudroom and the kitchen, and she found Jennifer's unopened granola bar and mug of tea on the kitchen counter. As she washed Jennifer's mug, Ms. Almeida noticed the paper towel roll near the sink needed replacement. She went to the pantry for a new roll and found only 2 fresh rolls were left. Ms. Almeida found this incredibly strange because the night before she had placed a brand new pack of 12 rolls in the pantry. Ms. Almeida wrote, "I sat there and wondered what had happened last night, that they used 10 rolls of paper towels." After picking up 4 of the children, as the 5th went directly to a friend's house, Ms. Almeida returned to Wells Lane and fed the children lunch in the kitchen. At 12:43 p.m., Ms. Almeida sent a text message to Jennifer which went unanswered. As she and the children prepared to leave the home, Ms. Almeida noticed the mudroom door, which led to the outside, was unlocked. The door was routinely locked unless the children were playing in the backyard. After locking this door, Ms. Almeida sent another text to Jennifer at 1:10 p.m. that she would be arriving in New York City with the children at 2:30 p.m. This message also went unanswered. Upon arrival at the apartment of Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber, Ms. Almeida sent another text message to Jennifer announcing their arrival, which gleaned no response. At 4 p.m., a call to Jennifer's cell phone went straight to voicemail. Ms. Almeida wrote, "Immediately my stomach sank, and I had a feeling that something was wrong. In the almost 7 years that I have worked for Jennifer, I never, ever had a hard time reaching her, and never had an issue with her phone being off." After discovering Jennifer never showed for her children's orthodontist appointment at 4:40 p.m., Ms. Almeida's reaction was, "My first thought was that Fotis did something." After pondering other possible scenarios, Ms. Almeida arrived back at that feeling that something happened and that Fotis was most likely involved. At this point, Mrs. Almeida contacted Gloria Farber and checked with other close friends and relatives of Jennifer, none of whom had heard from her. After returning to Gloria Farber's apartment, Miss Almeida and Jennifer's close friend, Laurel Watts, contacted the New Canaan Police Department to report Jennifer as missing, telling NCPD that a mother of 5 children was missing and that she was going through a divorce with a man that had threatened her in the past and owns a gun. After confirming with NCPD that they had spoken with Dulos and it was all right to accept his incoming calls, Ms. Almeida called Dulos at 8:41 p.m. Ms. Almeida explained that during the call, Fotis never asked me how Jennifer was doing the day previously or when I had last heard from her, or showed any concern about the fact that Jennifer was missing. Fotis did ask how the kids were doing and asked if I had all the kids at Gloria's apartment. He went on to remind Ms. Almeida that he had visitation with the kids at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning and that I must bring them to this visit. He told me that I needed to make sure that I woke up early enough to leave New York City so that I'm not late. After agreeing to Dulos's request, Dulos told her that the kids really needed him right now, that this visitation still needed to happen. On 5/25/2019, Dulos's first text to Ms. Almeida arrived at 5:39 a.m. "Good morning, Lauren. Any news?" Ms. Almeida replied, "There was no news." Throughout the day, Dulos called Ms. Almeida and texted her asking about the children, asking if there was any news. Any attempts to verify Ms. Almeida was bringing the children for the visitation. On 5/26/19, Dulos continued to text Ms. Almeida's about the status of the children and whether they were all together in New York. At noon, Dulos showed up unannounced at Gloria Farber's Manhattan apartment and demanded entry. The doorman had already been instructed to prevent Dulos from entering the building due to ongoing family court issues and the fact that Dulos was unwelcome at Gloria Farber's residence. New York City police responded to the scene and were told by Dulos that his children had been abducted and that he was demanding to see them. New York Police Department officers spoke with New Canaan Police and confirmed that Dulos was prohibited by court order from visiting his children unsupervised. Dulos was told to leave the property and ultimately complied. Jennifer's friend, Carrie Luft, filed a domestic violence report regarding the incident with NYPD. On 5/27/19 at 5:31 p.m., Dulos texted Ms. Almeida to check on the children. Following her reply that the children were fine, Dulos texted, "Thank you for your response. Please send me updates every 3 hours. I do not want to feel that I am pestering you, but please understand that I am the father and I am extremely concerned with the situation." Doulos did not ask anything about Jennifer, and Miss Almeida provided him with no response. During the investigation, Ms. Almeida was shown photographs of the south garage taken during WDMCS crime van processing. As she was familiar with the arrangement of items, having set many of them in place herself, Miss Almeida was asked if she noted any changes. She reported that 2 white camping pillows were missing from the shelves. These camping pillows are never touched and were used only twice by the kids during a school trip. She had noticed the pillows within the past 2 months while searching for an old towel to use for an activity with the children. In another photograph, Ms. Almeida noticed a cleaning supply bucket was missing from the shelving. The bucket had either been red or white, and it contained cleaning supplies used by the housekeeper. Ms. Almeida had placed the bucket on the shelf on 5/21 as she cleaned the garage for Jennifer. 35. Dana Hinman. Detectives conducted interviews with many Dulos known associates and friends, including Dana Hinman, a longtime friend of the Duloses, who was present at a barbecue at a water ski pond in Avon, Connecticut on 5/31/19 when Dulos and Troconis arrived at the pond. The property owner, Hutch Haynes, who is also a friend of Dulos, mentioned that it might not be appropriate for Dulos and Draconis to be at the barbecue considering Jennifer had just been reported missing. Haynes suggested that Dulos and Draconis return to their home. Dulos, however, remained at the pond. Hinman raised the question to Dulos, "Where is Jennifer?" Dulos' response was to talk about $15,000 in medical bills, which Jennifer had accrued. At one point, Hinman remarked about breaking news which was coming over his cell phone that detectives were in Hartford finding trash bags, possibly related to the case, in city garbage receptacles along Albany Avenue, Hinman wrote. Fotis watched the news story and eventually looked up at Michelle, sort of locked eyes with her for a second. Doulos then walked away from the group and began making calls on his cell phone. Hinman's assumption was that Doulos was talking to his attorney. Sidney Streeter. Sidney Streeter was a third-party observer who works with Dennis Puebla to monitor Doulos during his supervised visits with his children. Mr. Streeter was the observer present on 5/22 at Jennifer's home when Doulos brought his children home from Grace Farms and picnicked with them in the rear yard of Jennifer's home. Ms. Streeter told police that Doulos never entered Jennifer's residence during the visit. Doulos' financials. Information has been provided pursuant to a court order sharing agreement with our law enforcement partners pertaining to the apparent financial standing of Fotis Dulos and his business accounts, a portion of which is summarized below. It is noteworthy that Doulos is currently involved in an ongoing civil suit brought against him by Gloria Farber, that's Jennifer's mother, the mother of Jennifer Dulos, in which $2.5 million is in dispute. The suit was started in 2018, and Doulos was aware of the potential financial exposure at the time of Jennifer's disappearance. Doulos' lending portfolio currently consisted of several loan accounts. Multiple lines of credit have a current balance due as of 5/31/2019 of approximately $4,499,000 and change there. There was also numerous mortgages held against his construction properties. Of note is a savings bank of Danbury line of credit opened by Doulos under the name of his company, 4 Group, Inc. In March of 2018. The line of credit has a maximum draw of approximately $2.7 million, which was extended on May 2019 with a balance of approximately $2.6 million. It appears beginning approximately 4/1/18 through 5/31/19 that Doulos began funding the 4 Group business checking account held at People's United Bank with advances from DSB line of credit totaling approximately $1.6 million. Also during this time, the 4 Group business account was funded by additional line of credit advances to include People's United Bank loan totaling approximately $530,000. In April of 2019, at a time when the DSB account was nearing its maximum limit,